Hello, all, to those who may be listening. This is our first recording of our new podcast, BDSM. I'd like everyone to say hi. Julius.
Hello.
Donald. Scott.
Hello.
And I'm Brandon Underwood. We're just going to get right into this with our first segment, Today in the Universe. Julius, what do you got for us?
Well, seeing as it's Christmas time, I've got a great story from the United Kingdom. Santa Claus gets the boot from Britain's National Trust because he's too American. So the National Trust has decided that Santa Claus, being too American, has to be kicked out of the National Trust's 300 locations, and only Father Christmas can be used from now on, which is fairly strange because Santa Claus actually originates from the Netherlands, Sinterklaas. So what do you guys think about this?
So is Santa Claus like this guy with his American flag Speedo, just cruising on a surfboard with his aviators on,
shooting fireworks?
Barbecue. Is that what they're trying to say?
They're saying he's too American for them. They want to be special. They want to be unique. So
When was it decided that Santa Claus was American?
Since Coca-Cola. Yeah. So that's all I got.
That's a great story. I love
Thank
that.
you, Julie.
I just thought, it's in the lower class they call him Santa Claus, but apparently Britain's too great for it. So now moving on, Donnie, what have you got for us?
Well, apparently a pilot for the U.S. Navy made a giant dick in the sky with his airplane.
A pilot for the U.S. Navy?
That's what I said too.
Yeah, the U.S. Navy has its own pilots because it is such a large organization.
Yeah, they fly on seagulls, just so you know.
Yes, they have many. See, unlike other countries, the U.S. can afford planes for its Navy.
Yeah, I've heard about this too. Didn't he have to formally apologize
Yeah, he has
or something?
and then with a straight face, he's like, "There is zero training value in this maneuver." And then, so Washington, apparently, the citizens of Washington were apparently horrified just to look up and see a giant dick in the sky.
Yeah, heavy air quotes on horrified.
Yeah.
He's just advancing sex ed.
Yeah, exactly. It's public service.
It has zero training value to him. What about to everybody else?
Yeah, okay, so moving on to Scott.
All right, guys, my news story is about Hammy the deer. Now, the reason they call him Hammy is because he has a purple hammock stuck to his antler, and he's currently running around Prince Rupert, British Columbia. And it says here that he's been found to be very elusive to the conservation officers who are trying to save his life because a lady found him in her backyard, stuck in her hammock. And when the RCMP cut him out of the hammock, he ran. And he ran fast because they could not catch this dude and get the hammock out of
Nobody's
his
catching Hammy.
Hammy, they have a wanted poster that they posted around
What?
the town that says, "Wanted, alive, Hammy." He's really, I just like to send my prayers out to Hammy because he's...
Why are they trying to catch him? Are they going to arrest him for theft?
Well, they need...
Maybe there's some
I will
ulterior
not arrest
motive.
until Hammy is brought to justice.
Yeah, or maybe...
That's kind of what it feels like, because that poster looks like they really made it try to look Western,
Yeah, it's
old.
straight out of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's like a popsicle stick replica of Hammy.
Yeah, Hammy has also sort of become a cult hero in Prince Rupert, so...
He looks like Rudolph in that.
Fight the power.
Oh my God, is that? Oh, they just ripped that off. They just took some kid's little cute Rudolph creation and just got this pipe cleaner or whatever that is and just wrapped it around the antler. I bet that should be the real crime here. That's what we should be figuring out right now.
Everyone involved should be executed.
The mass crime syndicate around Hammy merchandise.
Prince Rupert should be quarantined.
All right, Brennan, what's your news story?
Okay, as a couple of us know, there was a fist fight eruption in the Ugandan parliament.
Ooh,
And
I've seen the video for this.
yeah, the video is graphic. A chair's thrown. There's some fist fighting going on. Guys jumping on desks.
Dude falls off a table.
The whole deal. And okay, so apparently this was because the speaker was about to make a motion for a bill or introduce a bill that would increase the age limit for presidency.
Yeah.
So that they could have their president serve a longer term, so he could go back in, because the limit's 75 and he will be 75 when the polls come to be president. So they're all angry and they start fist fighting. But the thing is, that didn't really solve anything. Things calmed down once they started talking about other contentions. But at the end, when they actually had to introduce the bill, the speaker tries to introduce it, and as a protest to try to disrupt it, all the lawmakers start singing the national anthem as loud as they can. And after a few minutes of attempting to introduce the bill, the speaker just adjourns the parliament meeting and they all leave. So they successfully actually shoved it off the table for now.
This is an example of a flawless political system.
That's a true democracy.
Yeah. There's not a lot to say about it other than I guess some people don't even want to give him the chance to be president. He's been president for 30 years, but at the same time it makes sense. I mean, if he's too old, he's too old.
Yeah, but if he's doing a good job,
it's Uganda, so I doubt that.
That's fair. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that, but in total, I think they got a few things to look at in their parliamentary system.
Okay, we're gonna move it on now to Brennan's big belligerent brain buster.
Scott, I'm glad that you've turned it over to me, because I have something for you that's gonna blow your heckin' mind. Okay, all right. Have you guys heard of the thought experiment, the ship Theseus?
the what?
The thought experiment, which is an experiment that is theoretical. It can't actually be done. It's just for you to think about, which there's a lot of them in physics and philosophy. So have you heard of the thought experiment, which probably wouldn't have been called the thought experiment, but the ship of Theseus?
I have not.
Okay.
Neither have I.
This is pretty old, but I'll go ahead and pose it just as they might. Okay, if you have a ship, and it is the ship of Theseus, and it's been sailing for 300 years,
Wow.
and every time a part breaks or something gets too old, they replace it. Once every piece on the ship has been replaced over the course of time, is it still the ship of Theseus?
No. Wait, does it still belong to Theseus?
It's
Can
the-
Theseus
it's-
live 300
it's the-
years?
It's the ship's name.
Oh,
It's-
never mind.
I feel like the ship's name is a title that's not really connected to the physical ship. You know, it is, but the title is just a norm, that people call it. It's not like written in code or anything. So I feel like it could still be considered the ship of Theseus, because it's still generally accepted. But
I think we're missing out on the real brain busting part of this brain buster, which is how would they replace some parts while they're sailing, like the hull?
I imagine board by board. A board gets old, they fix
on the
her up.
bottom of the ship.
Julius?
That would be very
stick a piece
problematic.
in the back, and then you rip the front out, and then you stick another piece in the front, and then you take
That's
the back
the
piece out.
real issue here. is
That's how you do it.
Unforeseen maintenance gods.
Okay,
See, I don't know if you get this, but I don't think a ship can sail for 300 years straight. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
real
like-
brain buster part, not how they replace the hull part.
German engineering.
Well, if you're fixing the ship every time, but what do you think, Julius? Do you think it's still the ship of Theseus?
I think it is, because I feel like the new parts have time to morph into the ship and become a part of the ship.
Yeah, I agree with him. It's like if each part's replaced one at a time over 300 years, it's like still the same one. Like if it was all at once, no way.
I think you could replace it all at once and it would still be the ship.
I think that I'm very glad that you think that, because there's follow-up questions to this.
Oh god.
If they take every part that they've removed from it, broken or worn out, whatever it is, let's assume they were all just getting too worn out, and they started building a new ship from those parts, once there was a complete separate ship, and then the ones that they were taking the parts from is all new parts. Which one is the ship of Theseus?
Neither nor.
Both. I would call the new ship that they made from the parts of Theseus, of the ship of Theseus, I would call that one the boat that's made from the old parts of the ship of Theseus. I wouldn't call it the ship of Theseus.
I haven't heard that before. That's actually a good way to look at it.
So it's TBT.
Theseus 2.
I'd call it, yeah. I'd call it Theseus back and better than ever.
That's
And
funny because it's made of all the garbage parts.
And I'd call the ship that's with all the replacement parts. I would call that the ship of Theseus remastered.
New and improved.
So it's not the ship of Theseus.
2.0.
No, it's the same general idea but remastered.
What if we just split it in half and like
Okay.
say you have SH and then IP on the other one and then BCS.
So
and
it'd
the
be
S
like,
just sits in the middle.
so it'd be like it'd be wait it would be Shitha and then Ipsius.
Yes, there we go.
Ipsius.
Science.
Ipsius. And then in our ship, which is S, because Theseus isn't on.
You just have the letter S in the middle and like they have to float
Little
next to each
robot.
other.
Okay.
You have like a little S in the
Okay, so hang on. Before I ask this final question, let me just get an official opinion then. Scott, what did you say? Which one is the Theseus?
Neither, but both.
New parts, but old parts. All right, I'll take that. But just to clarify, new parts or old parts, Donald
New parts, because I like new things.
and Julius.
I don't think either of them is.
Neither, but both.
Neither nor.
Okay, so that's unfortunate answer because then this third question doesn't apply to you two, but Donald.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah, you guys, it's like the only wrong answer, I guess you could say.
You didn't say there was a right and wrong.
There isn't-
Julius is the only person that could get
There
something
isn't
wrong.
there isn't a right answer, but there's just like things like poetry and literature. There's definitely wrong answers.
I got an opinion question wrong. How does this work?
So
I'm with you, Julius.
So at what point of moving those parts over? Oh, this is. I guess we could all answer this because Donald said
now Sully, we
new
can all
parts.
answer this. Okay.
Because he gave the other answer. If the old parts are the ship Theseus, at what point does that ship built of the old parts become the ship of Theseus? Because the other one starts out being it, but once you start building a different one out of the old parts, at what point does the other one become the ship Theseus?
We just split the name. That's
It doesn't. Becomes the
This is a trick question, isn't it?
Wait, are they also? Oh, wait, never mind.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we got our fill on that. All right, Julius. I guess it's time for some. All right. Well, on that, we're going to be moving on to our next segment. Julius, you have anything new for us?
So have you ever maybe sat in your backyard or gone out on a picnic and wanted to make a pizza, cook a pizza in a stone oven, but then you realized, wait,
There's no
stone
ovens.
ovens cost several $1,000s and they're really large? Well, I've got the solution for you. With the Napoli multi-fueled outdoor pizza oven.
Is it
Mouthful.
stone? Is it stone?
No, it's not. But it's a pizza oven, and they're normally made out of stone.
What was the point of the comparison to stone oven then?
Because this does exactly what a stone oven should do, but it's cheaper and it's a lot lighter. You feel me?
I'm feeling you.
Okay, so this oven can reach 900 degrees Fahrenheit and can cook a Neapolitan pizza in less than 90 seconds.
So it just cooks pizzas outdoors.
How does it cook it
Yes.
in 90 seconds? It just be
Because
a
900 degrees Fahrenheit.
No,
Oh.
it wouldn't.
So it's like a microwave.
Science. It's going to be really warm. It's going to bubble it. It's going to be perfect.
Are you sure about
So
that?
basically, someone's made a flawless product.
Yes.
gonna
Now this
say-
gives you a crisp outside and a tender inside, and perfect crust.
Well,
You feel me?
well, I don't like crust, so.
Why do you keep
Unless
asking
it's
if I
stuffed.
feel you?
Do you feel me now? Because I'm touching you right now.
I'm aware that you're
In the
touching me.
chest. He is touching Brandon's chest.
Okay, what does this product have any other Practical applications.
Anything that needs to be heated,
Practical.
most likely.
Well, you can cook multiple things in this, like fish, vegetables, and steak. Most
Will
importantly.
they taste like pizza?
No. It tastes like steak.
So it's just an oven then. It's not even.
It's
a
an
pizza.
oven, but it's a pizza oven, mainly for pizza. But you can put other things in there.
And
and
it's
it
not.
runs on-
And it's not made of stone.
But get this: it runs on gas, wood, and charcoal. So whenever you feel like it, you just switch it up.
Hang on, I don't want to contribute to CO2 emissions.
Yes, you do.
I disagree with
When
that.
does Elon Musk have an oven?
Yeah, see, you complain about CO2. Yet Elon Musk hasn't found a solution for this. So
I'm just waiting for.
Where you
I'm just
at,
waiting for
Elon
the
Musk?
Tesla oven.
Maybe the solution is just an electric oven.
Yeah, just tell him, just go to him and say, why haven't you fixed this?
Wait,
and
we
he'll,
have
and he'll
those.
have the Tesla oven
We have
in
those.
like
They're
9
called
seconds.
microwaves.
Cook your pizza to deliciousness. I
Ever
think
hear of a
yes.
pizza pocket? Microwave that sucker. Perfection.
or you put it in this pizza oven. Less than 90 seconds. Perfection.
How long do you microwave
Okay,
your pizza pockets?
Yeah, pizza
I
pockets.
don't know. You know what? 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
I would say
That's
a
gonna
minute and a
be
half.
A hot pizza pocket.
See, that's a minute and a half. That's 90 seconds.
That's why I
This one
said a
can
minute and a
This one
half.
can do it in less than 90 seconds. Less than.
So like 89.
Seeing as you guys don't get the point of this, I'm right, you're wrong. We're moving on to Brandon for his tip-top top 10.
To start off, my top 10, Julius is wrong about his
Stupid oven.
garbage non-Tesla oven. I'm going to be breaking into a top 10 here that I hope is pretty relatable and understandable, comprehensible. We'll all kind of I don't want to give off a top 10 that we don't know what the things are. So I've started off with something pretty easy. Top 10 candies, not specifically candy bars, because that would limit us out of like fruit flavored candy, anything that's not in a bar shape. So it's just candy in general. All right, guys. Any words before we start this top 10?
Reese's better be number one.
What's candy?
Scott, get out of here.
Okay. Number 10, Hershey bar.
Very versatile. I can say that. There's lots of Hershey bars.
Not only does lots of Hershey bars, but Hershey owns many other chocolate companies.
And another fun fact, Hershey bars were used in World War II as rations for British soldiers.
That's why they lost.
What?
The British soldiers?
Pardon? That's why they need to retreat.
Once.
Okay. Number 9,
And then they switch.
Jolly Ranchers.
Not a fan.
No comment, no comment.
They're okay.
I like
I
Jolly.
just don't like biting on them, and then they stick to your teeth super hard.
Yeah.
Have you ever done
That's
that?
why you don't bite on them.
That's why you
I hate to break it to you, Brandon.
Yeah, they kind
Yeah,
of.
but they shouldn't be a hazard to me.
Yeah, they make me feel like I'm gonna get a cavity every time I eat them. But I do it anyway.
Number 8, Kit Kat.
I actually don't like Kit Kats that much.
What?
I'm not sure I understand what you said. That didn't.
There's like they're
Like
like
there
kind
were
of weird. Like
words.
I don't know.
I'm not sure I like
They're so regular. Like, there's not that much special about them.
I don't know. I just exactly. I don't know.
They're like.
I don't like them.
Are there Kit Kats in the commissary?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
Okay, good. Very bien.
They're an OCD person's nightmare.
They're just very decent.
They're just too light. Like the wafer.
Oh yeah, you need some thick meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys, number 7, Snickers.
One of the best.
Yeah.
Like that caramel peanut connection is just amazing.
Plus, they have an amazing. They have an amazing ad campaign.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's true.
You're not you when you're hungry. That's
Yeah, the one with Mr. Bean.
that's
Really,
brilliant.
that really butters my egg roll.
I like the one with. I like the one with machete. You know that.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Mexican actor. Dude.
Yeah. And he's like really angry, and then they eat it, and he just turns into a little girl, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going out now." Okay, you ready? Next, number 6, Sour Patch Kids.
What?
They're
Wait.
gummies.
They're sour gummies, pretty much. They're okay.
I'm not a fan of sour candy personally. It's not. I can eat it. I just don't. I'd rather have something more. I guess I'm a chocolate guy.
I like sour worms. I just don't like things that are too sour.
Okay.
You all know. You all know.
All right. Number 5. This I think would be my number 1. M&Ms.
They're good. They're just literally just pelts of chocolate.
Pelts.
Pellets. Sorry.
Like rabbit droppings.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's what I'd compare it to, but if that's how you feel, we'll just move on to number 4. Gummy bears.
See, that's the most generic candy I think ever.
No, they don't even give a brand name. They're like gummy bears.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. That's how generic they are.
I think
They're good.
some of them are bad.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, there are some bad ones, but
Yeah.
Haribo.
Most likely, you can't go wrong.
In the unforeseen event that your gummy bear has a razor blade in it, then you would be going wrong.
What?
You got to be wary on when you send your kids on Halloween trick or treating. You know, they could find a Glock in their Hershey bar or something.
That's just gotta.
Okay, number 3, Twix.
Amazing. Like, okay.
Left Twix or right Twix?
What is with that ad campaign?
It's stupid. It doesn't mean anything.
Because if you turn it upside down, then it's a new right and a left.
Bad ad campaign. Amazing candy. Like, they're like Snickers, but like lighter, so they don't make you like full, you know? And they're like full.
Oh.
And there's like 2 of them, so you got double.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, so when you finish one, you go, oh, I really
There's
wish I
not
had
2 of
another one."
them. They just took one bar and halved the size of it and then put 2 in the same bag.
There's 2 of them, Donnie.
Okay, I was just going to say, then what's with saying, hey, can you buy me a Twix? Wouldn't it be some Twix? Because you can't get one individual.
A couple of Twix.
Can you buy me some Twix, Brennan?
Well, maybe I want more than 2.
Man, I want 3.
Speaking of 2s, number 2 is Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Whoa!
I don't.
Number 1, baby. Oh, they haven't eaten it since I was -7 years old.
First of all, they're number 2. Second of all, not that good.
Hang on, Donald. Maybe that's why you're fat.
It's the first time I haven't made a fat joke.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a big fan of them, but how much do you think, like, how much more profit do you think they'd make just as a percentage compared to their profit now? I know we don't really know what it is
Unlimited.
to the number if people weren't allergic to peanuts, because they have to lose quite a bit just
Already
on that.
unlimited money.
Yeah, if one guy buys all of their Reese's, then there's none left for the peanut people anyways.
There you go.
Okay, we're kicking it to number 1. What do you guys think is number 1, unless you saw it already?
Skittles. I'm going with Skittles. Again, very versatile.
Donald, what do you think? Still Reese's. It's 2 and 1.
Yeah.
Reese's is so good, it takes number 1 to 10.
Julius, did you see it already?
I did, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be.
It's Skittles.
Got 'em. Let's go. Very versatile. Got the sour flavor, got the regular, got the berry. It's tropical.
You got the mix as well?
And
Like
they-
whatever the reverse ones are?
They're good. That's good stuff.
Well, with that, I guess we conclude our top 10. Scott, would you please move us into what's happened this week in history?
Yeah. Okay, so this week in history was the infamous D.B. Cooper hijacking on Friday, which probably wasn't Friday in 1971, but November 24th. A man named Dan, or who went by the name as Dan Cooper, bought a plane ticket in cash from, I believe, Portland to Seattle, and he hijacked a Boeing 747, and he requested for $200,000 in cash in $20 bills and a parachute. And he stole that bad boy. They landed in Seattle, dropped all the people off, got the money, and then he said, "Okay, fly me to Mexico." They were like, "All right, man, whatever. You have a bomb." I mean, it was debatably a fake bomb, but they thought he had a bomb. And then he jumped out of that bad boy somewhere between Washington and Nevada, and he was never seen again. And it was just, the FBI gave up, I believe, in 2016, and it's unsolved. Nobody knows what happened.
So he didn't get to Mexico.
He might have.
He might have.
That's
You know-
such a low ball. Like, hey, I have a multi-million-dollar jet and I can blow up innocent civilians. Give me a fifth of a million.
Good math there, Donnie. Good math. Do you use your phone for that too?
No.
You looked at your phone when you said that.
It's just
I was,
a
I was confirming I didn't use it.
The AI is giving the answer.
Yes, so they don't know if this dude died. He got away. They don't know it. They found like a bag with $5,000 in 20s in it on a river that was in the range, but it might not even be his.
Wait, I'm
So-
sorry, I missed it. What happened to the plane?
It just kept flying, I think.
He jumped out and it just kept going for Mexico, and then it landed and probably flew right on back.
Okay.
Why didn't they just turn around the moment he jumped out?
I couldn't tell you, Julius. That's
Well,
I
if
didn't
they're
know you were a
piloting-
pilot, Julius.
But,
No, yeah.
why would he think he jumped out somewhere between Seattle and Nevada, and then they flew all the way to Mexico, and then back?
Okay, what year is this?
1971.
Okay, Julius, it's 1971. It's a Boeing 747. You think the pilot's like, hang on, did I just hear that guy jump out of the plane? Let's
You would hear it.
let's
Wait, and
park
they gave him
right
in
here.
2016? That's such a long investigation.
But he must have opened the door, right? How else would he have jumped out? And then they would have heard the noise. Because
Are you
they
sure
had their
about
doors.
that?
They had their doors open back then.
The cabin's isolated.
But the doors.
No,
always
9/11
open.
hasn't happened yet, so.
Yeah, it's since 2001 that they closed the door to the.
Julius, it's up for debate, okay? Ask the pilot yourself why he didn't stop.
Maybe the pilots were in on it.
Even more reason why 200,000 was not enough.
Well, the pilots definitely wouldn't have stopped him from jumping out of the plane. They might have landed in Nevada, I'm not sure, but they're definitely not just gonna turn a 747 around.
But who said that he jumped out? Maybe he was thrown out by one of the pilots.
Well, he
My
was-
guess is that he had a trigger with him, and then he said he jumped out so they wouldn't know specifically where he landed, and then they kept flying, and then if they turned around, he'd blow it up.
Boom. Yeah, so we're gonna send it now to Donnie for his kooky conspiracy.
Okay, so I was looking at vacation spots, because, I like living that relaxing life.
La vida loca.
And I was looking at Finland until I realized it didn't even exist.
Sorry, you wanted to relax somewhere and you chose Finland.
Well, I would have, except it turns out Finland doesn't exist.
Okay, how'd you get there?
Okay, so Finland, like never existed. Like, it's not just disappeared. Okay, Finland is a figment of Soviet Russia and Japan's imagination. Because in the Cold War era, okay, a lot of good fish around where Finland would be, not gonna lie. So what they did was they made up Finland as this figment of land that no one else would fish there. And then Japan could fish all they wanted, with the Soviets protecting them as long as they split the fish. And then the Trans-Siberian Railway was built so they could transport the fish.
I have one flaw. What would Japanese fishermen be doing all the way up there, and how would they get there?
By sailing.
Also, what about the dissolution of the USSR? Like, now the new Russia is. Do they just keeping with it, or is it still the USSR and they just pretended to become Russia?
Yeah, when are they gonna admit to this?
Admit that Finland doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You're telling me Google Maps is in on this?
Pardon?
And NASA as well.
It's a massive lie, okay? Like Finland just isn't there. Like, the 5.5 million people,
It's just not there.
the 5.5 million people that live there, not even there. They're just in Probably Sweden.
So you're telling me the Finnish soccer team is actually Swedish?
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened is that, see, this is beyond the current conspiracy. I'm adding on to this. I believe that Sweden is going through a civil war right now that they're not reporting on, and that Finland is actually just the rebels of Sweden.
Well, I like how much money have they sunk into this, and at that point, are they even turning profit?
I guess so, because fish is pretty bustin' in Japan, so they probably just got tons of money from there. And then,
Don't they get tired of fish?
I thought it was whales that they would be good at catching.
on top of this, Japan probably used Nokia hardware to guide their boats, and this would explain why Japan is the biggest importer of Nokia's products.
That would explain it.
Wow, Donnie, you really have a soul in this
Yeah, you
conspiracy.
really wrapped this mystery up. Like I was thinking, wait, hang on, does Finland even exist? And then now you come in telling me it doesn't. Well, there you
We'll
go.
prove it does. Have you been to Finland?
As a matter of fact, I have.
No, you've been to Sweden.
I don't recall there
Sorry,
being
okay.
a town in Sweden
Julius,
called Helsinki.
who was recently banned from this podcast, is the only one that's been to Finland. Brandon, have you been to Finland?
I've not been to
There
Finland.
you go. Scotty, have you been to Finland?
I can't say I have.
There you go. Ka-chink, problem solved.
Have you been to Finland?
No, I can't go
Well,
somewhere
then-
that doesn't exist.
Have you been
Well, right.
to Sweden?
Have you been in the area that is supposed to be Finland?
No.
Have you gone swimming off
So-
the east coast of Sweden?
How do I know that this isn't a larger cover-up for Finland's existence? If you've never even been there.
So are we saying that we can't let people know Finland actually exists?
I mean, as great as he was.
Okay, so you guys really didn't present anything saying otherwise, so from this point on, Finland isn't real. Now moving on to Brennan's wacky story.
Have you guys, are you guys familiar with the popular card game Cards Against Humanity?
That I am.
I have heard of it.
Okay, well, this company of, I think just like less than 10 guys, but they're much larger now. He's known for doing some interesting projects, like they dug a hole on some
Nice.
island
Oh.
for the sake of digging a hole. No, that is it. They just dug a hole. And everyone donated money, so they dug the hole for, I think, around 40 hours straight. Big hole, then they're like, all right, we're done. Once donations stopped, and that was the end of the hole. And so it's just there. They got a new thing going on, though, that has a grander purpose. It's called, it's some package that you can order called Cards Against Humanity Saves America. And they say they're sending 6 unique surprises right to your doorstep for the price of $15.
Bombs.
Honestly, it's a really good ad campaign. I watched the video they had for it, and it was from the perspective of a guy in the future talking about how America was doomed, but then Cards Against Humanity saved it. He's like, and it was only for $15. Anyway, the first thing that they've done is they've bought a large piece of land that is on the Mexican-American border. And everyone who buys this package will get a tiny fraction of that land. It's the number of packages they sold is in the hundreds of thousands. So if the U.S. wants to build a wall along the border, they would have to have a court battle with every single person who owns a piece of that border in individual court cases. They'd have to go to court a few 100,000 times in order to successfully attain the land to build the wall.
Can't they just build a wall around that piece of land, though?
Yeah, just put a nice little 10-degree angle about a mile before it, and then just.
I mean, like, if they keep buying more land, then they just go up. So if they buy all the land up to the Canadian border, they just build a wall up to the Canadian border, and that's it.
And an entire section of America is just cut off.
I don't think that'd bode well for many people.
Or, just take the land.
I have yet to hear what the other 5 surprises are, but I mean, as an effort, that's a pretty good shot at trying to stop.
Quite the prank.
It's the real deal.
I mean, another surprise is the Napoli pizza oven. So I mean,
Gotta go for it.
Just the non-stone, non-Tesla oven.
That cooks pizza.
And steak and fish
So it's
and
not a pizza
vegetables.
oven. Then.
So it's
just
not a
normal
pizza
oven.
oven.
It's mainly a pizza.
It's just a thing that goes outdoors and gets hot.
All right, guys. For that, as a beautiful, nice little sweet ending that America will be saved by the time Christmas comes, a nice little Christmas present. That's when they've finished giving out their gifts is Christmas. What a gorgeous thing. But on that note, I guess we'll be ending this podcast without giving gifts, because we don't have any money and we're bad at podcasting. Say goodnight, fellas.
Good night, fellas.